You said something. You don't even remember what. They went quiet, and the room filled with heavy air. 3 days later, you find yourself typing out an apology you don't fully mean, for an offense you can't fully name, just to make the room breathable again. Society views the silent treatment as someone needing space or a polite cooling-off period to protect the relationship. But there is a colder, deliberate kind of silence that creeps in and overtakes a room. It punishes. A 2026 systematic review of 2,000 adults sorted silence into 2 groups. One group used silence to manage a flooded nervous system. They couldn't think, so they stepped away. The other group used silence as a lever. They knew exactly what they were doing. Coping silence is a reaction to internal overwhelm. Punishment silence is a calculated mechanism deployed to assert power over someone else. To understand why this works, we have to look at the brain. In 2003, psychologist Naomi Eisenberger placed people inside a medical scanner and had them play a virtual catch game called Cyberball until the other virtual players abruptly stopped throwing them the ball. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex lights up in excluded players, the exact same neurological region that fires when you burn your hand. A 2015 meta-analysis of 12,000 participants shows the average effect size for ostracism is -1.36, a massive drop. You can't just shrug it off. The silent treatment bypasses your emotional logic and registers in your nervous system as a literal physiological attack. This behavior follows a strict architectural pattern. It starts right here with the trigger, often a minor moment of perceived disrespect, or a situation where the silent person simply didn't get what they wanted. Then comes the withdrawal. They go completely cold, often leaving the room or ignoring messages. The absence of an explanation is the weapon itself, forcing you to guess what you did wrong, putting the burden of repair on you. Next is the escalation. This is where you crack. You double text, you offer coffee, you apologize for things you can't even name, throwing signals against a wall while they offer nothing in return. Finally, the conditional return. They resume communication entirely on their terms. The actual issue is dropped completely, and the cycle is reset, teaching you that the cost of crossing them is severe cold. Recognizing this sequence changes your role in it. You are trapped inside a programmed behavioral loop, engineered to force a surrender. During that escalation phase, they might offer a single-word text or a half glance. Researchers call this intermittent reinforcement. It logs in your brain as a near win, compelling you to try harder, following the exact same biological reward curve as a slot machine. David Buss mapped how different personalities extract results in his 1992 manipulation research. He found that people with high levels of meanness and low agreeableness prefer withdrawing over negotiating. They want a specific outcome without the burden of having to defend their request out loud. A 2025 paper from PubMed takes this a step further, classifying this specific behavior as a covert form of intimate partner violence. It causes deep distress, but it leaves zero visible evidence for outsiders to see. The tactic extracts a massive toll from the victim while letting the instigator maintain a perfectly calm, spotless reputation. The silence frames you as the dramatic, needy one. We can differentiate healthy space from manipulation. A healthy timeout is named and scheduled. I'm upset, I need an hour, we'll talk later. A punishment script is unnamed, open-ended, and abandons the resolution entirely. This graph shows the severity of this dynamic over time. The Gottman Institute tracked thousands of couples and found that chronic stonewalling pushes a relationship past an 80% likelihood of separation within 5 years. The punishment script only survives as long as it stays invisible, relying heavily on your ongoing willingness to play your assigned apologetic part. If your relationship's history contains no record of actual problems being solved and only a record of who cracked first, you are looking at a punishment dynamic. You can dismantle this by calmly speaking it out loud. Say, I notice we aren't speaking. I won't apologize to a wall. Let me know when you're ready. And then you leave the room. A flooded partner will eventually walk through that open door. A manipulator, stripped of the invisible script they rely on, will furiously escalate.
The punishing silent treatment is essentially an invisible fence built along the edge of your relationship. Because you keep bumping into it, you assume the collision is your fault. You forget someone else drew up the blueprints and built the structure. Once you see the architecture of the script, the illusion breaks. You no longer have to apologize to the fence, and you can finally choose whether you want